Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. I hope everyone's enjoying their Wednesday morning. We're back. Definitely excited to discuss the news. But before we proceed, please remember this is a fan podcast dedicated to Manchester United. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, feedback, whether you're following on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, as well as Spotify. And then social media on X at RD Corner Kick Pod and TikTok and Instagram at Red Devils Corner Kick Pod. I hope everyone's excited. Mostly today we'll be discussing transfers, but we're definitely leading off with the big news. Obviously, Benjamin Sesko. Now there's talks about Rasmus Hojlund potentially now leaving now that Sesko's coming, and the United office basically telling Hojlund to go bye-bye. And Antony is holding out on Real Betis. Now there's talks of now that we finally have Sesko. Are we now going to go for the goalie and the midfielder, which is what we need next? So we have a few things to talk about today, but let's just go straight forward and talk about what's the most important thing. Obviously, Benjamin Sesko, it's been reported that he has chosen Manchester United. Now United and RB Leipzig is now working on a deal or trying to negotiate the deal for the transfer. Sesko has agreed on personal terms, 5 years till 2030. My apologies. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. So we're here. We are. We're finally here. I know last night was potentially going to take about 24 hours or so till we finally hear something. There's always talks about how he agreed to terms to both. The transfer fee was a little bit different. But here we are. Here we are basically now working on getting our new striker in, wondering when he's going to be in. I know there's a report there saying that the medical is slowly scheduled, but the transfer fee is still being negotiated. I'm sure there's payments being locked in. So we're going to see how that progresses. From what I was reading, I saw one report. Obviously, we saw the 85 total in euros. I saw somewhere where it was the transfer fee is 82.5 and then 2.5 million in add-ons. I saw a report there, but that can't seem to be right. But from what I'm seeing here, they've given what RB's wanted. The player has always hinted at coming to United, has always wanted to play. Deal, personal terms and everything has been agreed. But, in the end, we have him. Am I happy about the funds being spent? No, but in the end of the day, I am not spending any money. It isn't my money going into the club. Yeah, it's not like I'm not the one who's writing the check for the player to join in the end. It's interesting to see how this is going to play out. Like I said, I always wanted the money to go towards a goalkeeper and a midfielder just to bolster those up. But Amram and Man United have the striker of their choice. They got Sesko. It's been a long summer trying to get the right striker. Obviously, Delab they couldn't get Gyökeres. Osimhen was asking for way too much. And we got Sesko. We have Sesko who's going to now play for us and potentially be thrown in. Now our striker situation is definitely going to be Cheeto Obi, Xerxes, and now Sesko. Rasmus Hojlund is now potentially out the door, which sucks. It really does. I would have been happy with keeping him, having him, Sesko, and Obi as their striker. You can have Xerxes rotate in with them. He can fill in with the 9, or you can have him fill in as a 10. But in the end, a decision made. It's a business and all that stuff. But so it's yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely huge in a sense for the club, but in the end, what we're losing does suck. I don't want to lose Rasmus, like I mentioned. I have been a fan of his from what I've posted this past transfer window about on Twitter about him developing, getting things right. But in the end, Hojlund wasn't Amorim's player at the end. Hojlund is not Sir Jim's player. So, and they've talked about players' performances and changes, and unfortunately, this is going to be one of the changes. We're seeing what happened with the 5 that have gone: Rashford, Antony, Sancho, Malacia, and Garnacho. Hojlund was always going to be on that block of going, and now he's potentially going to be gone. So he's going to be looking to find a new club. The window closes September 1st. So it's just a matter of, getting things going. The most important thing now is that Sesko that's the deal. Like, so in the end, everything has not been finalized. The choice has been made, but nothing has been officially finalized yet between the two clubs. So like I've always said, and I kind of reposted a post that I posted a week ago, basically saying I'm not going to believe anything until I see him in a photo with a contract with the Manchester United social media team saying, "Welcome to Manchester United." Like, again, the smallest thing could happen over the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't want to sound negative. I don't want to sound rude, but anything could happen. But again, like I said, until I see that photo, I will be relieved. I know some people are wondering why I'm posting this episode. I'm still going to break the news, like I said yesterday. The decision has been made, and in all fairness, the decision I feel like was already made a couple of weeks ago that he wanted to go. I think it's just a matter of our committee, our manager, sitting down with him and saying, "Listen, we want you. We want to play with you, but we need to know that you're willing to be with us." And they went in with that approach. They were able to lock him in, and now they're working on the fee to bring him to Manchester United, which is fine. I know everyone's probably wondering where we're getting the damn money from, but that's not my business. One day, if I have to report something on financials, I definitely will, but I am definitely the wrong person on financials. But in the end, the decision has been made. I don't want to lose a player like Hojlund, but he has had his struggles. I was hoping that things could change with the new additions, but maybe a fresh start for him is good. You have the new additions here. You have the players, the units there, the right agenda to grow with, and he's buying into what the plan is for Ineos, Amorim are going to do. And I'm going to save something for another episode. I'll talk about that. Something just came into my head, just because I always have my X open. Twitter open, and there's something I'm going to discuss at the end, because I think I'm going to dedicate something tomorrow for the podcast. But in the end, was this the right move? We you never know until it's either working out what's there. Sesko is coming in late, so we're not, if everything became one and done, everything signed, medical agreed on, all by Friday, there's no guarantee. He wouldn't be playing for Saturday. He'll be arriving. For all we know, he appears at the game on Saturday against Fiorentina. But I don't think he'll be announced or anything. He could be announced there. Could be, but I don't think they're going to have anything done by, I don't think everything's going to be done until Friday at the latest, if not Saturday. Have him clearly in Manchester at Carrington Sunday. and then start getting him ready, because as much as it's great that he's going to be there, he is the last one to the dance, he's the last one to rehearsal, and how do I say this? The play is in a week and a bit, and he's the main attraction, to say the least. Let's sum it up here. He's the headliner. The show is in a week, and he's not going to be there until rehearsal, until the actual week of, or like the last week preparing for the big show, and we've already had weeks of practice. Just know that as much as we have this player coming in, we have now the pressure is, or I shouldn't say the pressure is on. I shouldn't say that. Now there's going to be an element going into that Arsenal game. There's already heat going into the Arsenal game. 1, Amram's in. 2, Gyökeres is now playing for Arsenal, who is a former player of Amram. Battle between them. Not only that, the pressure with Arsenal trying to start off the season, favorites to win the Prem. Manchester United, who coming in from being 15th last season. So a lot of things, our pressure is going to go on next week. And us as a fan base, we can't do that. I should be saving this for my preview show when I do the Arsenal game. The preview will be next Friday, definitely, because it's the kickoff. But back to it. Yes, Sesko won't be here till next week. Because that's basically what it's going to look like here. We're going to try and get this done as fast as we can. He cannot be here till next week. Chances are Hojlund will still be here next week. He may play against Arsenal. He may be starting against Arsenal next week. So we'll see how that goes. For all we know, we don't have a starting. For all we know, it's Cheeto Obi or Xerxes. If Xerxes healthy, starting against Arsenal, the way things are going. But in the end, it's going to take time with Sesko. It's going to take time with getting the relationship with Sesko, Cunha, and Buemo, Bruno, Ahmad, Dorgu, like Casemiro, like the whole school. Like, as much as we have these pieces and we have this off season, not everything happened at once. It's going to take time. So one thing I ask is with Sesko, when he comes in, patience. He's not going to have an off season. He's not going to have a preseason training with this club. Next week is going to be technically his first week of preseason for training with the club and getting into the Arsenal match. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be starting against Arsenal. That's going to be reserved for someone else, I believe. But you never know. You never know what may happen. For all we know, Sesko's game fit and ready to go for training. He could be ready to go next week as well. So we'll see. Again, happy that they made a choice. Hojlund, like I said, the Hojlund Sesko thing is kind of combined. Hojlund, there's talks of him being sold for 30 million. Recent report today, since last night, I'm seeing that it's time to move on. It sounds like Hojlund is ready to move on from Manchester United with the signing of Sesko. Listen, I was happy with Hojlund a little bit. I was happy with Hojlund's preseason, but that's me. I'm not the manager. I'm not the board. I'm not the coaches. You can't see what's there. So, like, he's going to have to be one of those players on the chopping block to move on. They said if you're not doing anything in the first 2 years, it's time to move. So we have a lot of work to do. But in the end, it is a business. So, it's great to hear that Sesko's coming. I know I had my admirations about it, mentioning about the cost, what we could use the funds towards other players, building with those 2 strikers that I mentioned. But there's a reason why I'm not owner or manager of Manchester United. But we will see how it goes. Again, I am back tomorrow doing the preview, along with discussing something else. So I'm sure I'll get an update as well. I know AC Milan, RB Leipzig has also showed interest in Hojlund as well. So there's talks there. For all we know, Ten Hag goes for him at Bayern Leverkusen. So we'll see how it progresses. We'll see how it does. So it's going to take time. It's going to build. But remember, we're 1 week or just over 10 days, I would say 10, 11 days until that first match. And Sesko probably won't be here until Sunday at the earliest. Earliest, I'm saying Sunday, if that. The fact that, Manchester United have gone in this quickly to organize, it's quite big. But I think next week, Sesko should be here. We'll see him in training. Like him ready to go training, the medical, everything signed next week, and he's already at Carrington ready to go. The new Carrington, because again, they've renovated it. So that's big as well. So we'll see. We will see how this plays. But right now, next week, the pressure is going to be on him. The pressure's already on Sesko. We as a fan base are already putting the pressure on him, and he hasn't even played a single second yet, and the pressure is going to be on him against Arsenal next week. But when we get to that, we'll get to that. But Sesko is signed. Sesko is on his way potentially. Well, all roads are leading to him officially being there, just waiting for the transfer fee to be done. But he has made his choice, and here we are. The performance is almost here. I don't know why I'm using these as references, but I am. Couple transfer news. Yes, Anthony, Sancho, Garnacho, they're all still there. The midfielder and goalie, keeper, are up, are next on the targets. Will we get them done before September 1st? I don't know. Maybe take some time and wait until January for potential targets. Obviously, with Donnarumma wanting to potentially stay at PSG to finish out his contract, there's that option there. I know there's talks of Baliba. There's talks about the midfielder from Sporting. I don't know if we're going to get those by September 1st, what the cost is going to be. There's talks of going for the goalkeeper, Lamen, because he's a cheaper option. I believe he's well under 20 euros to purchase. So they may have to go after him, especially as a backup or potential, starter for Manchester United. Something to challenge out by Inder, and as well as put some heat on Onana, because in December, Onana's gone to AFCON potentially. But if we get a potential keeper whose skill set's higher than Onana and is better, Onana may be gone even in this transfer window or even January. I can't say that's going to happen, but there could be a hypothetical situation where that could happen. So, it's there. How would I rate so far the transfer window with this club? Sales, selling of players, I'll say like a 1 out of 10 right now. Just we've loaned out, we've made sale. I'll say a 4 out of 10. We were hoping for a sale with Rashford, but the loan was due. Like most of our sales have come on from sell-on clauses, which is great negotiation skills. So we have that there. So we've made our money there. Loans have kind of helped out a little bit. Obviously, we're not making anything really off of Rashford because of the adjustments that have been made. But we're just waiting to see what's going to happen more. For all we know, we don't sell this window. We may be selling in the January window. That's where we sell all the players. I know these players have their target clubs and they're fighting for those target clubs, but at the end of the day, just don't even, yeah. It sucks when you have that, but we need to work on getting those. I have my phone ringing in the background. My apologies, everyone. But it's, got a little distracted there. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing really to report because nothing has changed with those 4. Malacia hasn't been moved on, but now you're adding Hojlund to the mix. So we may get a sale from Hojlund. We don't know where. It may be out to Europe. we don't know, or we put him out on loan to develop as well, and then you have 2 strikers there. But right now, I think with the way this club is going in the formation, Hojlund may not fit into the system. Like, I was hoping that he was going to develop and get the time to get to adjust to what he needs to do. But I think with the way things are going to go, I don't think it's going to work out well with Manchester United, unfortunately, which does suck. Yeah, I'm going to end it off with the podcast, or with this episode today. I will be back tomorrow. I'm previewing Fiorentina. Obviously going to keep more up with the transfers, especially with Sesko, when he's coming, the medical, all that stuff. Terms have been agreed, fees just finishing off, and then we're potentially good to go. And you can see the reactions from Newcastle fans too. I'm not going to talk about that. There's enough on social media right now. You'll see the videos of callers in on Talk Sports as well. So, but yeah, I will be back tomorrow. Again, like I said, going to catch up on a few things on there and definitely preview for Fiorentina. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. For Manchester United fans, I'm sure some of you are popping champagne bottles right now because you were happy with Sesko. Still more work to do with players, but it's going to take time. And as we get closer and closer to the start of the Prem, more and more in discussions about what we're going to do with this squad as well. But as said, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.